said you know the answer? Yeah. So the question is, who knows, very simple, the most popular city on the west side of the state of Pennsylvania? This is the first answer. Are you passing?
Wait, what? Cheating! You were right.
You were way off,
Set it up.
Bryce.
All right, next question.
You're right.
It's Pittsburgh, for those who don't know. Most popular. Pittsburgh is a city. Okay. And the most popular state on the, or popular city on the east side of the state of Pennsylvania would be, go with the lady this time. Yes.
See, I knew it.
Now, a little bit of a tougher question. Who knows how long it takes to drive, if going the speed limit, from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh? It's 5 hours, dude. Wow. I was not expecting someone to get that correct the first time. It's a 5-hour drive. I know this because I grew up in Pittsburgh and lived in Pittsburgh through my childhood, teenage years, and young adult college years as well. But I went to college in Philadelphia, but I still lived in Pittsburgh, right? Like my mom's house is there. So I would have to drive from college back home to Pittsburgh a lot. So it's 5 hours, and it's not too bad of a drive, but when you can fly, not handing out candy for this one, but who can answer, do you know how long it takes to fly from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh? Close, it's an hour actually. We'll round out. We'll round up, it's an hour. So obviously, if you can fly from Philly to Pittsburgh, you should fly, but it's more pricey. But not when you fly for free. I flew for free. You know how? Matt knows how. Does anyone else know how I got to fly for free?
You were a flight attendant.
You know it, man. In a previous life, nah, I was not a flight attendant.
You were the pilot.
I was not a pilot.
You were stolen.
Not quite.
You were the skyways.
No. Tanner, I was not the skyway.
You hid in a suitcase.
No.
You racked up
Last try.
You racked up frequent flyer mileage through your credit card or something?
Not quite with a Capital card. No, my stepdad worked for U.S. Airways. And as long as I was a dependent of my mom and my stepdad, meaning as long as they still oversaw like my insurance and all that, then I could fly for free. So I actually, during a few years of college, and then I finally gained my own dependency, if you will, by getting my own insurance and stuff, and then I wasn't allowed. But for a few years in college, I got to fly for free from Philly to Pittsburgh, which was awesome. You know, so I got you a little display of how happy I was. This is me. I had a little more hair in college. Yeah, and I didn't have any body. My pants went to my neck. With that aside, I was very happy. So, you know, taking off from Philly was very simple, right? And then you're flying happily for an hour, and you know, and then some time passes, and then you land in Pittsburgh, and that was easy too. And then taking off from Pittsburgh was always smooth. But here was the downside. Philadelphia has the worst air traffic control for landing planes in like any airport in the country. Anyone ever flown in or out of Philadelphia? So you may know this. You may know this. So happily, I took off from Pittsburgh to go back to college. And this happened a handful of times, it wasn't just once. You know, the plane starts coming down to land. This is the Philadelphia airport. And all of a sudden they stop the plane and tell them you have to hold and go into a holding pattern, which is a series of circles you make around the airport until they can open up a runway for you to land your plane. Now ideally it would only take a few minutes. I was in a holding pattern one time for 45 minutes. Right? Which is like how long it took to fly across the state, almost. So, you know, we're in Philly. All you want to do is land. You're already there. And your ride's coming to pick you up, and it's all a timing issue. And they put you in a holding pattern, and you just look out the window, and you just circle the airport in the air for 45 minutes. And it's not fun. Now, like you, when I can control my holding pattern, I don't mind holding, right? I mean, like, your mom says, do your homework. And you say, I'm going to hold off on that for a little bit. That's not a bad hold, right? You control it. You're like, I don't want to do it right now. I'll do it later. You know, your dad tells you, hey, time to get up. Time to go. Get out of bed. And you say, I'm going to hold on that. I'm going to snooze for a few more minutes longer. That's not a bad hold. Also, like you, when I don't control my holding pattern, it's frustrating. For example, on the plane, I couldn't control anything. I'm stuck in the air in a seat next to a fat guy, and we're circling the airport. Not being mean, we became friends on the flight. He said it was okay to call him that. So you may be holding on a plane, or for example, if you've never flown or been in a holding pattern, what about a restaurant? You ever walked in and been real hungry, and hostess is like, it'll be 60 minutes. And you're like, they need a little buzzer thing, and you're staring at it forever, waiting for your, what's your favorite foods that you wait for?
Hot wings.
Hot wings, waiting for hot wings, good answer. And that's a frustrating hold. You're waiting for that. Or, you know, how about turn the table on the whole homework thing, right? What if your parents say, you're not going to leave the house for a week? Frustrating hold, right? Because you're not in control. You can't leave until they say, now you can go. And honestly, for a 12, 13, 14-year-old, life can be like an uncontrollable holding pattern. Just like me circling around the Philadelphia airport, some of us in the room are feeling like we're just circling around uncontrollably, going through the motions of life, waiting to become something better, waiting to look something different than what we see in the mirror, waiting to accomplish something, waiting just for anything to change. And nothing seems to change. And we get frustrated because we're not in control. We try to control, but the outcomes aren't what we want. And so we're like, clearly we're not in control, or else that wouldn't have happened because I would have done things differently. And we wait, and it's frustrating. So what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? I'm not asking for an answer. Think about it. What are you waiting for? You waiting for a boyfriend, girlfriend? You waiting for a relationship to change? Are you waiting for less arguing in the household? Are you waiting for one of your parents to come back who's left the house, maybe in a divorce or a separation? Are you waiting for a new cell phone? Are you waiting for fill in the blank? Sometimes we can be waiting and circling, and we see other people landing, right? We see other planes landing. Our plane's left circling, we look out the window, we see another plane land, and we think, that's not fair. God's got me in an uncontrollable holding pattern, and other people are landing what I want to land in my life. Other people have the opportunities I want. Other people have the family that I want. Other people have what I'm missing, what I've been stuck holding, waiting for. And in this kind of thing, we question God's goodness. We start to wonder, is God really in control? Does he have a good plan? If he does exist, does he care? If he does exist, why does he let those people land? Why can't I land what I want in my life? I see other people landing what I want. So is he out to get me? Does he know what he's doing? I'm stuck holding, waiting. Others are not. And we get frustrated. And we see examples of this. God gave us examples of this all through the Bible. This is not new to humanity. Humans, since the beginning of time, have been questioning the holding pattern. Have been questioning the why don't I just have what I want right now? Why do I feel empty? Why don't I just have the things that I want? Why don't I look the way that I want? Why don't I have what they have? Why don't I have what I should have? This is not new to humanity, and God gives us examples all through the Bible And one guy by the name of Jeremiah actually got so frustrated he starts talking to God about this holding pattern. So in his life, he's kind of like me, no longer happy, but circling the Philadelphia airport. And Jeremiah is kind of like circling in his life in this holding pattern. He starts to get mad at God. He starts saying to God, like, God, do you even care? Do you have any clue what you're doing? And God responds to him this way, as he responds to all of us tonight. I know what I'm doing. I have it all planned out, plans to take care of you, not abandon you, plans to give you the future you hope for. Not a complicated statement. God chooses with Jeremiah not to go on and on and on and on and on and say, after these 12 steps and after you fill in this blank and you got to do a bunch of things to get there. God just simply says, I do know what I'm doing, and I'm not abandoning you. And I'm fully aware of your frustrations, and I'm fully aware of what you think you're missing. And I've got a plan to deliver a future beyond your biggest hopes. And God whispers that to us tonight if we're in a holding pattern. If we're waiting, God is saying, I know what I'm doing. If we're trying to get to something that others have already gotten to, and we're wondering, why am I behind? God's got a plan. And you may be in a holding pattern for a reason. And it's God's timing when you'll come out of it. Or it's God's calling that will pull you out of the holding pattern. Because other times we're in a holding pattern and Jesus is calling, saying, hey, look, I've paved the way. You're just not recognizing it. Come closer with me. You'll start to recognize the road out of the holding pattern. You'll begin to see that I'm landing you at a different airport, or we're going to take the other runway, or we need to continue circling for a bunch of different reasons. We don't know. Sometimes we're in a holding pattern for a reason. Other times we've got to tune our ears to what Christ is saying, because I want you to land over here. Or he's simply saying, just hold on. We're going to land where you want to land. It's coming. But he's whispering those things to us. And so we all have a calling. We all have a purpose. And we are not to confuse calling with other things. Like a lot of people confuse calling with career. Give you an example. Jesus calls someone to land in their life a desire to defend the weak. That could mean a lot of things. You could become a social worker or a lawyer. But you don't have to match up your calling and career. I'll give you a great example. I want to introduce you to somebody named Macy Miller, whom I don't know personally. I just know her through a story. Just this fall, think about yourself this fall of 2012. Just this fall, here's what happened. Macy goes into school, sporting some pigtails, and she gets bullied for it. And she responds to the bullying in a way that I don't think many people would. She actually rounds up a couple of her friends and says, you know what, I'm tired of bullying. I got bullied. I got made fun of. And I want to respond in a unique way. So she gets her friends together and they all wear pigtails to school the next day as kind of a protest to the bullying, saying, doesn't matter what you think. What's in style is whatever we feel like doing. So I'm wearing pigtails. I don't care if the magazine's like it. I don't care if 17 magazine says those are out of style. I'm wearing them. And just in a few months, this has spread to like a movement where thousands of people have gotten involved all over the country. And if you look on Facebook, they've actually created a page called Pigtails for Peace, and it's an anti-bullying page. And they post encouraging things to people who are struggling with being made fun of. And in a few months, over 3,000 people have liked it. I just liked the page a couple hours ago. I was number 3,115, so even 2 more people have liked it since a couple hours ago. And so this is a movement that this girl started. So here's the difference between career and calling. See, her career is she's a full-time student. That's your career. You're a student. Your career right now is you're a student. You may think, oh, I don't have a career. Yeah, you do. You're a full-time student. You're there most of the time. Throughout the year, throughout your day, you're studying. That was what Macy's career was. But she didn't confuse student with her calling. See, her passion was to defend the weak, to defend the bullied. And so she's answering Jesus' calling in the midst of her career, in the midst of being a student. And so you may feel like being a student is a holding pattern, but it's not. Not for your calling. See, Jesus is calling you to be passionate about something. He has a purpose for you. And he's whispering in your ear, you're not in a holding pattern. You're not screwed up. You need to quit searching for what you don't have and start listening to what I'm calling you towards, because I'm telling you it's magnificent things that I'm calling you to do. Another example, I had a friend in Pittsburgh, I do know him, don't have a picture of him, his name is Jack. He works in the business field, Jack O'Shea, and he's a full-time business guy. And Jesus has called him to take care and minister and mentor the youth in an inner-city, low-income area in Pittsburgh. And so he works his full-time job in business, and then on weekends and a couple weeknights, and he's got a wife and family, he's a busy guy, but he finds time. He goes down to the city, and he's built this kind of 40-person community of inner-city youth that don't have fathers at home or are looking for mentors or looking for direction. And he mentors them. That's his calling. So you can't confuse the fact, well, I'm a student, that's what I am. No, you are a student. Jesus has you as a student. That's your career right now. But he's also calling you to be passionate about something. And if you're thinking, I don't know what that is, that's okay. Because as you continue to come here and we direct you to Jesus, Jesus is going to tell you what your calling is as you walk closer with him. And so we want to actually spend the next 20 minutes or so letting you discuss this a little further in small groups, which I'll explain what they are if you weren't here last week. And we're just going to kind of continue this discussion, but we want to hear from you. So you just spent a lot of time listening to me, thank you. When we go to these groups, you are going to listen to your leaders for a little bit, but it's more, we want to hear from you, so don't be afraid to share. And I'll tell you where you're